Hello and welcome to City of Five Nations podcast and Know Your Vote series. As we invited all the candidates to come on with us and talk to us about the different issues that faces all of us in the community, we did have a few, very few, to refuse to come. They thought that it was either duplicative or didn't have time. And today, unfortunately, was one of those times. I'm going to bring on Zoe, my co-host. Zoe,
hello.
How are you? Zoe, I have some unfortunate news.
What?
That one of the candidates today decided they did not want to talk with us.
Oh, okay.
But in the good news, we have Darren Rutherford, who is running for Ward number 4. And we had a good time talking with him. Yes. Did any of it strike you as we go into the recording?
Yeah, I think, I really appreciate, I feel like Darren's perspective on leaving this a better place than we found it for our kiddos. It very much, I've talked throughout the series on that's how I feel too. That's what I'm here to do, is help this be the best place to raise a kid. And I appreciate that's seems to be a lot of his focus as well.
Yeah, and Darren was so easy to talk to. We had a lot of fun. In fact, I appreciated him at the end going, hey, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it is easier, oftentimes with one candidate too, that, you get more time and you get to listen and take the time.
Yeah, the conversation was good. I could say I had fun as well. And you were smiling throughout much of it too.
Yeah. Painful cheeks after that one.
Okay, well, let's get to our interview with Know Your Vote. This is candidate for Ward 4, Darren Rutherford. And today, Ward 4, I bring up Zoe. Come on in, Zoe. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun so far, and I'm so happy that Sonic is with us today on the screen and with me. Just shameless.
No, right. Honoring sponsors is a big deal. Thank you for providing the money and platform for us to do this.
The friendship. The Winco Sonic is like, the Winringer's name is synonymous with Shawnee. Did you know that?
That, if I looked up, no, I did not know that.
If you looked up the history of Sonic, Mr. Winteringer, Jim Winteringer, was the first one to do the contracting for Troy Smith way back when. Or maybe it was his dad. Yeah, it was one of those Winteringers.
Very nice. I did not know that. Good job, Winteringer.
The first Sonic and the 3000th Sonic. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is cool.
Zoe, do you think that we'll make it to show 3000?
That Shaughnessy TV will make it to show 3000.
No, us. Knowing our vote. Knowing our candidates. Zoe and Daniel.
Are there going to be 3000?
I don't know. That'd be a long time.
How many elections would that have to be? I'm going to have to do some math now. I don't know.
But it's when this is going to be the number one place for families when you're 68.
Yes.
So we've got
when
some
I'm
time.
80. You're 68 when I'm 80.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm the only one that has to remember that. Nobody else.
So I have to do the whole 120-year thing. That's what's got to happen to make the 3000th happen. The whole 120 years are the years of my life.
Yeah, we got to do this a long time to get to 3000.
Well, today, Zoe, we had a candidate say yes and a candidate say no.
We did. Yeah. And I look forward to getting to know the candidate that said yes, and it'll be good.
Me too. And I always like it when candidates say yes and they decide to talk to their people who they would like to represent. I'm blatantly saying that right now, Zoe, very nicely to you, that why would somebody not want to talk to people who they're asking their vote from?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I don't know. But I
Well, we
guess I
can't
could call her
ask
up.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't ask her that. I mean, I could, but
We did call. We called. We texted. We said yes. They said yes. They said no. They said, come on.
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
so we have
But we do have a candidate.
somebody who's already served on the city commission for 4 years, and honestly, I think he's doing a great job. You can stop by his place of work anytime, and he's very visible. He's very much there, and he's one of those guys. And I don't know if you know this, Zoe, but he's one of those guys that grew up here, has been here. His dad started a business here like 120 years ago, and he just wants good things to happen. And of course, I'm talking about Commissioner for Ward 4. What's his name?
Darren Rutherford.
Who's
That's
got
my
tires?
background noise all the time for myself.
We got tired.
So, Mr. Rutherford, first of all, thank you for taking your time and spending a little of it with We Too.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate you. And for those who don't know you, please, can you spend, say, 60 seconds and just tell us about yourself and why you do what you do and why you're running?
Well, I was born and raised here, been in our family business here my entire life, and just wanted to give back to the community. Would like to see what I can do to help us keep moving forward. A lot of people are reluctant to serve, and I kind of understand that.
Yeah.
And I decided that it was somebody needs to do it with vested interest in making Shawnee better. And I felt like I could do a good job at representing not just my ward, but even the entire city. So I decided to run 4 years ago and felt like we've made good progress and want to do it for another 4 years.
Now tell me this. I feel like being on the commission just feels, I have heard that it feels like a very thankless job. Is it fun? Do you like have a good time, or is it like just like your duty? And I
enjoy it. It has not been as hectic as a lot of people have said in the past when I was deciding to run. People have been very respectful. They call, I'll call them back. They'll stop by work, which I encourage people to come by. I'm easy to find, I think I'm easy to talk to, but I enjoy it. I enjoy what we do. So it's been fun.
Cool. That's awesome.
And I heard you use a term forward, which I like. And so many young families, so many people my age, so many people older have really noticed, Darren, over the last number of years, the momentum, the forward momentum that's been happening in our community. And then all of a sudden this term, let's go backwards, comes out. And it's like we're supposed to be thinking, why do we want to go back? Where do we want to go back to? I mean, it just seems so different to have to think going backwards. When you think of going forward, I would like to know, Darren, what do you think the future holds for Shawnee, in a positive way?
Shawnee's got so much to offer. Oklahoma City's growing this direction. It's naturally going to come here. We've always said that. Why Shawnee has kind of been stalled 20 years ago. It started moving forward, but I think in the last 4 years, for sure, 8 years, we've really made progress. And I think it's a lot to do with the mentality of with the commission and the staff. We've got a new young staff at the city of Shawnee who are all great. And the commission, me for one, I realize I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for our kids and grandkids. They're going to benefit from 45th Street being wider, from Kickapoo being wider. They're going to benefit from the new parks that we are working to create. So all of the things that we're doing, it's for them. So that's what I want to see continue.
Yeah. We referenced it at the beginning of the video, but I came to Shawnee because my husband and I are just going to live here forever. That's just what's going to probably happen. And my dream is for Shawnee to be the best place to raise a kid by the year 2068. And that's why I'm doing these interviews, is because I want to, bring in city lawmakers who are going to be thinking towards that direction.
Why 2068? Why not 2021 or 2022? Let's get there now.
I agree.
Let's
get there faster. I'm in.
Yeah.
I just said by 2068. No, that's the year I turn 80. I figure I'm going to be done and ready to peace out at that point. So
I want to see those things happening
Darren, I'm
now.
with you. And one of the first, and a big thing that needs to move forward in a big way is going to be your first question. Just because you're alone, you're not going to be let off easy, man. I just have to warn you.
No, we're going to poke at you even more.
All right.
This first one is one that I'm so happy that it's you that gets the opportunity to answer it. I'm very interested to hear how you answer this first question.
All right.
If you were elected into office, what would you do to foster and improve relationships between the area tribal governments and your office, your position?
So, Darren, what would you do to foster, improve relations with area tribal governments and your office, the City Commission? And of course, that's Truman Carter, a longstanding tribal member of the Sac and Fox. And actually, Truman Carter, in let's just say the early 80s, because it was right around there, was actually a lawyer who argued in front of the Supreme Court of the United States and won. And he lives right here in Shawnee, another great asset for the City of Five Nations. Darren, I know this is a complicated issue, but I'd love to hear your heart on this.
First of all, I think we've made great strides in the last 4 years in our relationships with the tribe. I think we've made things better. I'm a tribal member. I'm a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and I think that relationship had become pretty strained a few years back, and I believe we've done things to try to mend that relationship. I don't want to say there are sides, because I don't believe in sides. We need to all work together, and I think our tribal partners, we can't do without them. The city needs the tribes, the tribe needs us. We all need to work together, and we can do great things. They have access to things that we don't have access to. They've got funds. We have things that they don't. So if we work together, we can continue to move forward and just keep doing things the way we have been and make them better.
Yeah, I agree. And this isn't particularly with the government, but I think, with the mind of children growing up in Shawnee, what would be some ways you would be interested in seeing some of our non-native students learning about the culture that is around them with our native communities?
The Cultural and Heritage Center here is a great resource that CPN has, and the other tribes have similar museums, and we need to get out and explore these. Our Eagle Observatory is hugely known and I think underutilized, and seeing those things in nature and tie that back and understand each other's beliefs, that will help. Knowing the history, the different tribal histories, and understanding those will make you understand how to work better together to move forward.
Yeah, knowing where we come from.
Yes, knowing where we come from will help us move forward.
With CPN being the largest employer in our area and also pouring, hundreds of millions of dollars into our economy every year, a lot of times they're the Goliath in the room. But I'm interested in how you're going to forge relationships amongst all 4 tribes, which make up our community, the Kickapoos, the Sac and Fox, and also the absentee Shawnee, and bringing them more into the fold than, it's the most press all the time, which is, of course, your tribe, Darren, the CPN. How can you create synergy amongst all the tribes?
Just by working together. When they come to the city, if they come to the city manager, which comes to us with ideas, then they need to be considered. We made some concessions on some annexation for the Kickapoos out by the casino that will help them, and that's because they came and said, "Hey, can we do this? This is why we want to," and it's a good idea. So we just need to continue to talk. The more we talk together and amongst ourselves, then the more we can accomplish. It's just, you've got to have an open dialogue and not be afraid to ask those questions.
Well, what about reaching out to them with our own ideas? What kind of ideas are in the room that can identify the advantages that we would reach out to our neighbor, to our equal, and to see how we can initiate the relationships that would help the entire community grow?
That's a pretty specific question, Daniel. And, off the top of my head, you're going to make me think of specifics. I can think in the past, the CPN helped greatly when they were building the swimming pool downtown. So when projects like that are going to benefit everybody arise, then we need to, be able to not hesitate and go ask, "Hey, this is going to benefit everyone, the whole community, tribal members or non-tribal members. Can you help partner? Can you help us with this?" And if we do that with all of the tribes, then we should be able to accomplish some good things.
I agree. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It was just one of those thoughts when I go, wait a second, we need to be reaching out. We need to understand that we have powerful allies who all share the space in which we exist. And what a wonderful way in which we can, I know everybody always tries to be fair. Truly, I believe that happens a lot, but equitably reaching out with our own ideas on how, we can benefit others, because we come in with a lot of strength as well.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to question 2. Are we just on question 2? All right, let's move to question 2.
Hi, my name is Destiny Branscombe. I'm 16 years old and an active member within the Shawnee community. And my question is for the commissioners candidates. What I would like to know is how you guys are going to become more involved with the community's youth. Thank you.
Thanks, Destiny.
That was very nice. We will tell you.
Okay.
That was a 16-year-old resident, and she cared enough to engage with a question for the commission. And she asked, "How will you become more involved with the community youth?"
I feel like I've been a member of Kiwanis for 16 years, so we've done the Little Olympics, so we get to deal with first grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. So I deal with them co-chairing that event. We have been inviting younger children than that to come to the commission meetings to start our meeting. Just get one involved in the community at 5 years old to start a meeting is a pretty cool idea that we do. So I would encourage students to come to our commission meetings and learn what's going on. There's a lot there. So planning commission meetings is just one way that students can come spend an hour and gain great knowledge and have input, because we will listen. If they want to come speak, they're citizens. We will listen to them speak. That's a good way to get involved.
Yeah, I know that community renewal is a part of the program that brings in the kiddos at the beginning of the commission meeting. So that has been actually really, really cool.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I like to see the pictures. As someone who perceives commission meetings as boring, I know that 16-year-old Zoe would not have wanted to go to a commission meeting. What would you say in defense of that?
I have to admit, on occasion, they are a little slow. We got to be straight up.
I was
sometimes.
waiting for that, Darren.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I got to be
I'm
honest.
going to pass out popsicles. What are you going to do?
But there are other times they are not. And the meetings that are the best meetings are the ones when the seats are full, when there are people, when there are members of the community there, for whatever reason they're there for. Those are good meetings. That means people are involved, and that's what needs to happen, and it makes them better.
Yeah.
So Zoe, to answer your question, you don't go alone. You take about 15 friends with you.
Okay. We'll just have a commission meeting watch party, as long as we can do like Mystery Science Theater 3000 version and just like gab the whole time. But I know we can't. We'll text. There's ways to do it.
So what I heard. Go ahead.
There are those that take place. There are watch parties. I have heard rumors of those when I leave a meeting and I'll get a message go, "Oh, we were having a watch party for that."
That actually kind of sounds fun. Maybe I just answered my own question.
Yeah.
What were you going to say,
Hey,
Daniel?
that's true. What I was going to say was that the heart of Destiny, I know, was just the youth feeling frustrated a lot of times that they're not heard, that their ideas are, they're just treated like they're kids, rather than, hey, that could be a viable idea. And I heard you say, Darren, that the commission likes to hear from the kids. And so I would encourage the youth to come down there and write a little 2-minute speech and give it, talk and let their ideas be heard. And I appreciated that you will listen. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So let's go on to question Trace. Is that the right word?
Trace.
Hello, my name is Scott Timmons. In the last couple of years, I feel that the sales tax rates have gone up, but a lot of the city services have become less available or not as responsive. What steps would you take to make sure that the citizens of the city are being heard and are that the services that are being provided to them by the city are increasing?
So Darren, were you able to hear that?
Yes. Sales taxes that have increased, they did 2 years ago. That was a vote of the people for a 0.5-cent sales tax increase, and those funds are specified use. We know what they're going to be used for. We have started several of those projects, so that's kind of separate. So the increase was voted on and is used for a specified list of projects. As far as how the services are going, we have the new AMI water meters are, I believe they're all up and running now, which is a good benefit. They've got a constant usage monitor, so if you've got a leak, you can be notified of that before you have a huge water bill. And we now all have new water meters, and infrastructure is a big thing. We're fixing to do going out for bid on sewage treatment plants, water treatment plant, to get those modernized. They're 60 and 70 years old or 80 years old, and we have determined, rather than to keep patching, we're going to do new. So that's going to be important for 2068 that
Yes.
we have good water supply and sewage treatment. So those are just two of the things, not even getting into public safety, that we're doing with the sales tax, the existing sales tax.
Zoe?
No, I think improved water is important.
Good for you. Yes.
Well,
we all like water,
Jeff
Zoe.
like water. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
we like water.
It's disappointing
But
when it
now,
doesn't work.
there is something you touched on there, Darren, that I would like clarification on, because I hear a lot of talk about 45th. They're spending our money where they're not supposed to be spending our money. Why aren't they starting on 45th Street? Oh, we voted on 45th Street. And I think that I remember that was a 0.5-cent sales tax in order to increase funding for the next 10 years so that we could get some of these projects done. Because 45th is not done right now, does that mean we are not doing 45th Street?
We are going to do 45th Street. We getting ready to start engineering on 45th Street. Waiting. The last word I heard a few weeks ago, we're waiting on the final plans from the school, so we'll know how it's designed, where it is, so a traffic study can be done to see how far west we need to go to accommodate the traffic for the school, and then that will also allow us to know how far east that we can go. And we may do that in increments. We have, it's not been decided yet. We may have to do the west portion first, the center portion next, and the other. But yeah, the sales tax is over 10 years. We have secured funds from that in advance, so we can get the parks done. We can get 45th Street done. That's a major project, though, to get engineering, and there's electrical transmission lines that are going to have to be relocated, but that is underway.
And not to mention a 20-foot ditch on both sides of the road.
There's a lot of engineering going to be involved in getting that done, but it is definitely going to happen. It's not affected by it's not affected greatly. Everything's affected by the deficit that we're probably going to face. We've allowed for that in our budget, but those funds will be there, and we have started getting ready for that.
Deficit as being a result of coronavirus.
Yes.
The whole economy shutting down, just everybody stay home. Everybody stay home for about 6 weeks. And, I'm just glad you look so healthy, Darren.
Our staff has done a great job. We were in as good a position as I believe we've been in forever for something this terrible. No one was in a good position for it, but as good as possible. So the way our budget was this year and the way they prepared it for next year, I think we're very capable and able to provide all the core services, and just don't see anything forthcoming as far as layoffs goes or anything of that nature. It's the staff does a really good job at managing that, and we're in a good place. And there are monies in reserve, so we're going to be good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, one of those superheroes, Ashley, you really scored a good one when you brought her in and you hired her as our treasurer. She's doing a great job.
Absolutely. It is so pleasant to get the budget reports in a form that everyone can understand. I'm a business guy, but I'm not an accountant. But we all enjoy how these are, and they're available to the public. So they're on the agenda. When she posts them to us, the public can see them just like we can, and they can go in and review them line by line, and encourage everybody to do that.
Oh, you mean they're not hidden? They're not hidden anymore? Oh my gosh. What about that budget meeting? We were all so excited about seeing the new budget that nobody showed up. I didn't even go. I didn't even show up. You did,
I
though,
really
didn't you,
thought
Darren?
I did. I thought that was going to be another packed house going over questions, and there was not people there. It was it was a little disappointing to not have people there to ask the pointed questions. But it is all available, and all can be reviewed and looked at the same way we see it.
Like right now, like somebody could log off this, not that they'd want to leave Zoe, but they could log off of this and just go see the budget if they wanted to, right?
Absolutely. Yes. When the agendas come out, they're available to everyone, just like they're available to us. You can click the links and open it up, and you can see everything that's going on.
Well, we learn something new every day. Look at that.
So
we have another question, Zoe, unless we're digging deeper into that one.
No, I mean, I have follow-ups, but we can keep going.
No, ask.
Okay.
Please.
So what are some lessons that you have learned from the coronavirus season about our economy and how our city works that you are going to learn about community resiliency and apply next time? What are you going to do in case this happens again?
Well, let's just all pray that it does not happen again. We obviously do have a very resilient community. I was impressed to see a lot of the things that people did just to keep going. Takeout orders at restaurants to help them, to doing the curbside pickup and rather than just eating at home, let's try to support them. Let's support your hairdresser, your barber, and the ones that provide those services. I know a lot of people would even though they didn't go, would go ahead and pay them. Housekeepers, things like that. Our community was really good about doing those things, and we're learning. We're continually changing and supporting each other. I see a lot more. We all say shop local. We all preach shop local, but you catch yourself not shopping local for one reason or another, and this has really made that shine. People really have gotten into the shop local.
Yeah, I agree. Well, when your friends won't have a business at the end of this, if you don't buy from them, it really puts an emphasis. Some of my favorite places in the city have closed. But I really, like you said, my husband and I put some effort into making sure that our favorite local places didn't.
That's the thing. So many people did put forth just extra effort for each other because we're all in the same community. Yeah. We know each other. So we're talking about our friends, not somebody down the street we don't know. It's all of our friends that we're trying to support.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm ready for question 4.
I want to point out
I live
that
in Shawnee, and I see a lot of potential for recreational activities, specifically for families that they could do ongoing throughout the year. And I was just wondering what your plans were to create recreational activities for families or to partner with things that are already happening in Shawnee to make them more ongoing, and how you would use your time in office to serve families in this way.
What were you thinking?
So I take this moment, and thank you, Rachel Monday, for that wonderful question. To point out, we are with Darren Rutherford, who's a candidate for Commission Ward 4. The opponent, or Darren's opponent, was invited to be a part of this, originally said sure, and then after some consultation of some sort or something, because it would be duplicative to something else that was happening in town or something else. If you want the text, I'll show it to you. But it was, she didn't want to come and be a part of it. So we're thankful to Commissioner Rutherford for taking his time to spend with us. And we've already learned a heck of a lot, but we're only, a little way through, Darren. And Miss Monday asks, what are your plans to create recreational activities for families or partner with things that are already happening to make them more ongoing?
One of the things that we have going now are the parks program that's part of that half-cent sales tax. I haven't seen the final plans yet, but I know the expansion of Woodland Park is going to be substantial for families. So we'll have some place to go year round. The list of the parks, Boy Scout, Slide Park, Dean Wygate, there's going to be improvements to all of those, which will be not just minimal. There's some substantial things going to happen to our parks. So that's one of the things that's going. Of course, I was at Shawnee Lake last night, so that's another underutilized area that we have that can support a lot of family activity. And I do have to bring up the kayaking. That can be done almost year round if you do it correctly, evidently.
Yeah.
So
put a dry
there's a
suit
lot of
on.
activities that can be done there also. So we have a lot with our Boo on Bell for the smaller kids and adults, because I like Boo on Bell. And our Christmas parade last year was fantastic. That involves families, businesses alike. So we have trail days coming up this coming Friday evening. It's a little shorter this year because of all the things going on in the world, but it is happening this Friday evening. So we just continue to keep moving forward with things for families. SEF, we have a great organization that does a lot of that. They're doing things at the Ritz Theater. So we've got a lot of organizations and a lot of things going for families and for recreation.
Zoe, I don't have kids. I have adults. So this is all you.
I have adults.
You have millennials.
He has a millennial like me. Yeah, I'm looking this way because Dean Wygate is like right over here from me. So when you say significant changes, what does that look like beyond slides and swings?
Like I said, I haven't seen the final plans. I've seen some of the renderings early on, because we went through meetings with the public, getting input, and then putting those into place. So more walking trails, more open usable space. I mean, let's go throw a Frisbee or something. Right. So besides the more playground equipment or better updated equipment, tables and areas and walking parks, and I'm anxious to see the plans to see what all is going to be recommended in the parks. But it's going to be kid space is one. When I keep calling that the new park, and evidently that's been there longer than I want to admit. But that was kind of our first modern park, and it's going to get another modernization to that with more user-friendly equipment. We're going to be more diverse in a lot of equipment, so there will be some better handicap access for playground equipment. It's going to be safer equipment. Just a lot going into the parks.
Cool. I like that. And what do you imagine out at Shawnee Lakes?
There's a lot out at Shawnee Lakes I would like to see. I mean, it's such the both lakes are beautiful lakes, and to be able to develop those in some way. I asked somebody a week or two ago about, let's put an ice machine out there just to start with. Let's be able to buy a bag of ice, or a bait and tackle shop or something. And then
a dry dock. Yeah.
That dry dock kayak rentals keeps coming up in my world, but I hear that
Can't
a lot.
imagine why.
Yes. So there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Good. That's great. And for our listener that doesn't know, Darren's wife, Donata, has a Shawnee Pot County Kayak Club, and they are out there a lot.
Yes, they are.
Well, Darren, you talk about the new park. I just, you're dating yourself, because I think you were one of the first classes in our new high school.
Well, I would have been, except went to another high school there for junior high and high school when I was at Woodrow Wilson, and yeah, I would have been one of the first ones over there.
Well, but also it's not a new high school.
I still refer to it as the new high school when I'm talking to my dad. I said, the new high school, and he's like, "Well, are you talking about the one on Highland or the one down the street?"
Yeah, the one 50 years old or the one 80 years old.
Right. Yes.
Anyway, we digress. We go on to the next question. I believe we have some more for you, Darren.
Hi, I'm Brandon Bell. I have a question for all of our candidates this year. With our nonprofits in our community relieving burden from our local government of so many of the things that we offer our community residents, how do you foresee partnering even more with our local nonprofits to consider serving more of our community members?
And I'd just like to point out Brandon is president this year of the Rotary Club, so he's one that you can get along with. And also, I think he replaced Zoe's husband, who also served as president of the Rotary Club.
Yes,
but look at that.
I think it is actually, I will correct you. I think Randy Waters is standing, and then Brandon Bell is vice, and he is coming into his, or maybe Brandon. I don't know. I think I've lived here too many years at this point to remember who.
Wasn't your husband president though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't your? Okay.
Yeah.
And Brandon, of course, CEO over at the YMCA, which is the largest nonprofit in our community. I think the question is on point, Darren. I almost called you Fred. Darren, can you comment on how you can work closely with the nonprofits?
The most important thing is the open lines of communication. If we as the city need to know what they have to offer, what can they do? What can we do to help them? So we need to be sitting down and saying, what can we do to help the YMCA? Well, what can the YMCA do to help you? What do we have to offer? So it's all about communicating, just to know what each other can do. Or if I come up with an idea of, hey, I think the Y would be good at this, then I need to go to Brandon and say, hey, what do you think about this idea? Or when he says, I think the city could help us with this, then don't be afraid to reach out and talk about those things. We have so many good things going with the local nonprofits. We've got Avita's here now that is a huge benefit to our community, that does so much with all the things they have to offer with community renewal, and then there's Neighboring 101, and there's just so many. We need to make sure we're in constant communication with how to help each other to keep things going and moving forward.
Yeah, when I told my mom about my 2068 dream, she's like, Zoe, that's sweet. Good job. And then I told her about Avita's and community renewal and all the things happening in Shawnee. And she was like, oh, man, that might actually happen. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really awesome things going for the community right now.
Yes, we just have
What I really like to hear you say there, Darren, is the city initiating those talks and coming to those entities with ideas, because that is when the room gets invigorated, is when the CEO or the person who was approached gets to say, no, they came to us and asked us if we would. And I think that kind of tale comes back to the tribal governments and the nations who surround us. I just think it's very important that if we can initiate things, it really creates more of an impact of trust and an impact of getting things done in a way that, we want to work together.
I agree. And with our city staff that we have now, our city manager, he's such a great guy, young, he's full of energy and wants to see us keep going in a good direction, and he's all about reaching out and asking, and also about listening to those asks. So both ways.
Very good. Zoe, we on to the next one?
Do we have a sixth?
We do have a sixth
Bonus
because
question.
we have a single. This isn't even a bonus. This is just number 6 because
All right.
we could do it with one person. So
We
we've
can.
got another community leader that you will recognize, Darren.
Hey, I'm Mike Affentranger. I work for Bank First, and economic development is a high priority for me when it comes to just local issues. I think this is a way that we can make local decisions that will really impact what we see around our community. As such, what ways, via policies and just different things that we can do as a community, that we can make our community more attractive? How can we do that to keep the citizens that we have, attract future residents, and even attract future business to bring themselves to Shawnee?
So there is Mike, lovingly known as Affy, with beautiful shirts. He's an attractive young man, and he is interested in how we make things more attractive here.
Economic development is one of the most important things that we can do as a community is to look more attractive. We've got, Domino Plaza is growing with SSM building that new facility there. Hopefully we're going to follow that with some restaurants out there. I do ask that question quite a bit, is have we got a new restaurant out there yet? Not that the ones that we have already aren't all awesome, but we can always have more. We've got phase 1 is completed where Hobby Lobby is. Phase 2 is there. It's just something that we need to work on. We also need to make sure we need to stay up with the times. Daniel, you said, I know you've got, I don't know their exact age groups, but I know you have some millennials around, and they're different about where they want to live and where they want to work. It's not as much, I'm going there because there's a job. It's, I'm going there because I want to live there and I will find a job there. So those type of things we need to keep in mind as we're developing and remember we're catering to that age group now. We have to make our city more attractive to, I want to live there and I'll find a job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's dear to my heart.
Yeah, as a millennial, I will agree with that. It's not about I can work from home doing anything I want. With privilege, I know that that's not available to everyone, but for me, I can work from home doing anything I want. And so I could live anywhere. So what would it be about Shawnee? And that's a rhetorical question. I'm just agreeing with you on that one.
And that's more and more prevalent is working from home or working part-time from home, or the way that jobs work, especially after the last 3 months. People have learned how to work from home more, and they've learned that it can be successful. The way the kids are learning now, that's changing and still changing. So we just need to make sure we're keeping that in mind as we're progressing, that we need to look at making Shawnee attractive to that age group, because they're the ones that are going to come here, live here, shop here, spend their money here. So we've got to make it attractive to them, and then the businesses will come. It's a little bit different now, I believe, and we've got to keep adapting to that.
Well, and it's true too. I mean, if you've got, a factory that is looking to, is looking at between us and Guthrie, say, And
Who?
maybe that's too small. Us and Guthrie.
Who?
You know, North. Logan County. You know those people. But sorry, there's a little feedback. If they're thinking about relocating their people, what are they gonna? Is it worth it for them to bring their employees here with their factory and attracting people? So they're very much looking at our local economy and the businesses and our infrastructure. You know, bike lanes is an unpopular topic right now, but as a millennial, I really believe that that's an important factor, is trees and parks and disc golf, you know, those kinds of
Go
things.
ahead. You can say it. You can say it, Zoe.
I said bike lanes. I already went there.
Oh,
In addition to get the disc golf.
I'm not in agreement. It is those type of things that will attract the younger workforce to come here. It will encourage our younger.
well, that didn't work out very well. Some audio problems. Sorry about it.
Into a robot.
Yeah, he's a robot or an alien. One or the other.
But don't let that affect your vote. You
No.
can still make good decisions.
No, yeah, and he showed up. He's here. He wants to talk to you. That's a big deal. Hey, Darren, thank you very much. Sorry for that problem, but is there anything else you'd like to leave us with that perhaps we didn't ask about?
Oh, I just appreciate you hosting this and asking the questions. Anyone that I'm just going through my memories over the last few years, and I don't recall getting messages or things that I didn't respond to, or people coming by. I enjoy talking to people when they come by about the things that we have going here in the city of Shawnee. So I'm way better at talking one-on-one than I am in these situations. So I'm glad to do that anytime. You can call me, stop by. I think we've done good things in the last 4 years. I would appreciate your vote on June the 30th. For me, Commissioner for Ward 4, and we can continue our progress that we've made. So appreciate your vote, June 30th. Darren Rutherford, thank you very much.
Thanks, Darren. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Darren, very much.
You're welcome.
Zoe, he said progress forward. I still don't understand this whole backward thing. Why would we go back? Where do we go back to?
I actually personally think that's an interesting conversation to have with the tribes, because going back much further, anyway, I don't know. I don't either.
But it was sure pleasant to be able to talk to Darren, wasn't it?
Talk to Darren, absolutely.
All right, so we have the commissioners down, and I've heard you kind of wondering on a couple of them. Like, just by getting to know more about them, Zoe, it seems that you've become more clear on, what you like and dislike.
Yeah, I think an interesting conversation in our country generally right now is it business, or is it someone who has been in politics for a long time and has that experience? I'm hearing experience versus, experience in government versus experience out in the world. And I think that's a really valid question that people are wrestling with, to feel like making a career out of politics. Not that I think anyone has necessarily done that in our local community, but I think it's a larger debate that's happening that I see reflected in the local government. And it's been really interesting because I know what I feel at the larger level, but to be pretty up close and personal with it at a local level has been an interesting conversation in my head and with other people.
Would you call it fun, Zoe?
I think it's fun. I mean, there have definitely been some frustrating moments, but mostly due to technical difficulties. But no, I always, and one, I love being on video. Two, I really love getting to know people. And three, I find it pretty fulfilling. I think that this is one of the things that this is one of the ways that I feel like I can contribute to the forward motion of my community. And it feels very fulfilling to me to be not just having these conversations, because I would want to sit down with a cup of coffee if we weren't in a coronavirus spike. But that I can also then share that with my fellow Shawnee and Pot County voters.
It is. It's interesting when you can really, at a local level, get to know the people who affect you for 85% of your lifetime. I mean, we spend 85, 90% of our time right here, where these guys and gals are the ones who are saying, hey, let us lead you, let us represent you and make good decisions. So to be able to, the ability to be able to know who represents you is much easier at this level, and truly much more impactful for your quality of life and for your family's quality of life. This is where we want to be paying the most attention to what's going on.
Yeah,
and so to be able to talk to these guys and gals is very important. And, I just appreciate the privilege of being able to do that with someone like you, Zoe, just open-hearted, just trying to ask the right questions and
figure it out
and make it happen. But also I'm more impressed with the people who are positive, who are offering solutions, rather than pointing and getting people riled up because they don't like something. Because normally they don't like something because they heard about something that's only half true. It's not the full truth, and they're not looking for the full truth. I want to be around people who want to overcome, not go back. Sorry, I said it again. But let's be overcomers. Let's do what we've all talked about doing for 30 years. And in order to do that, we've got to do things and continue the momentum forward, or we go the other direction.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Commission 2, Commission 3, Commission 4.
All done.
Thank you, Zoe.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. See you, everyone. See you
Together we
tomorrow.
build community, one season at a time.